off this countdown, we have foul language. So Peppa is known to be fairly sassy. She definitely has an attitude problem, but at least the show doesn't use bad language, right? Well, parents were saying that the show actually taught their children to swear. So a mother claims that after watching a particular episode, her daughter regularly used the F word. She learned this from the episode titled End of Term Party. During this episode, the characters are talking about Peppa's school teacher, Madame Gazelle, and her past as a guitarist in a band. Grandpa Rabbit then says the line, "Ah, that's right, she played the guitar with the rocking gazelles." But it sounds like he says the effing gazelles. What's worse is that people then made parody videos where they dub over the cartoon and make them swear and say inappropriate things. It shows Peppa cussing out her parents and friends and making lewd comments, completely ruining the show. Moving on, at number 9, we have the adult jokes. So there are tons of children movies and shows that have jokes specifically for the adult audiences that are often forced to watch alongside their child. It is shown that Peppa Pig does this as well. So in one episode, Freddy the Fox is talking to his dad and he says, "I've just had my dinner down a rabbit hole." No explanation needed. In the episode called Shake, Rattle and Bang, the children are trying out musical instruments for the first time. As a result, they are all playing them and making a lot of noise. That's when Madame Gazelle says, "Anybody can bang bang bang." These are just some of the innuendos that people have found. If you knew what these jokes meant as a child, then it definitely would have changed your perspective on the show. In our 8th spot, we have fat shaming. There are countless episodes where Peppa is seen making fun of her dad's appearance for being more plump than the others. She's constantly making snarky remarks about her dad's weight and stomach, which you can see upsets her father. So how is this going to impact developing children? They're literally going to think that fat shaming is acceptable. So here are some examples. In one episode, Peppa is in her treehouse. Her dad asks to come in, but Peppa will only let him in with the secret word, which is Daddy's big tummy. In another episode, her dad wants to go down the slide, but Peppa says, "Daddy, you're too big to go down the slide." When he gets stuck halfway on the slide, she laughs. Her dad is embarrassed and says, "It's not funny." She replies with, "It looks very funny, Daddy." And then you have the episode where Peppa needs a partner for a race. Her dad is so excited to be her partner, but Peppa bluntly says that he sucks at running. There are way more examples of her just being rude to her dad, saying he doesn't look fit or his tummy is too big. How is that going to make kids feel if they end up being bullied like this for their weight? Coming in at number 7, we have ageism. In Peppa Pig, there are multiple times where the show pokes fun at someone's old age. It seems like they're shaming the older characters and discriminating against them because of their age. So in the episode titled Granny and Grandpa's Attic, Peppa asks her grandpa what an attic is. Her grandpa replies with, "It's where we keep all our old things." Then Peppa says, "Like you, Grandpa Pig?" And in another episode, it's her dad's birthday and he's about to blow out the candles on his cake. That's when he says, "Wow, there's a lot of candles." And Peppa replies with, "That's because you're really old, Daddy." Now, these seem like innocent little jokes, but honestly, ageism is a very serious issue and can have negative effects on the elderly. For our 6th spot, we have the Peppa effect. With Peppa Pig's increasing popularity, there are tons of children across the world watching it, meaning there are tons of children being influenced by the show. Reports say that children who watched the show started to copy Peppa's behavior. This includes having a slight British accent and even snorting. But this means that kids were also picking up her disrespectful behavior. They called this influence the Peppa effect. Peppa is shown to be rude to her parents and friends. In fact, she even says things like, "I don't like you anymore, you're not my best friend." So parents reported saying that kids were being more defiant and having bad attitudes after watching the show. A research study also proved that their show was making kids lose their capability of developing empathy. So yeah, kids were literally turning into Peppa. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the horror episodes. So Peppa the Pig isn't a scary show at all. It's brightly colored and lighthearted. However, there are individuals out there that have made their own episodes and, well, have completely taken away the innocence of the show. So in some of these videos, it starts off looking like a normal episode. Then all of a sudden, it's filled with blood and violence. In one episode, Peppa and her brother are being chased around the house by their dad holding a bloody knife. Then they run into the kitchen where they find their mom's head cut up on a plate. In another episode, you have Peppa at the dentist. Her teeth are being pulled out, and then later on, an axe gets wedged in her head. There have been lots of reports of parents letting their kids watch these episodes thinking that they're just from the normal show, only to be horrified when they see the violence. In our fourth spot, we have Peppa's real height. This one shocked me quite a bit when I learned it, but apparently Peppa is 7'1". That's right, she may look like a little pig, but in fact she is a towering monster. That means that all her friends that appear to be around the same height as Peppa are also 7 feet tall. But on the show, Peppa isn't shown to be the tallest character. That means that the adults are even taller than her. In fact, Peppa's dad is a whopping 14 feet tall, and her mom is 11 feet tall. That's horrifying. They literally are mutated giant pigs. Moving on to number 3, we have Satanism. So apparently some people believe that satanic messages are hidden inside episodes of Peppa Pig. So first off, pigs are thought to be associated with the devil. There are multiple demons that have taken the form as pigs or demons that have been turned into pigs. Then people claim to have seen a lot of hidden images in the show, like how her flashlight and all the sink taps in her house look like the all-seeing eye, which is often associated with the Illuminati. Then people say that when the characters bring their hands together, it looks like they form horns, looking like devil horns. And lastly, people think that all the pigs' tails look like the number 6. Now, they are often seen together, meaning that if there are 3 pigs, their tails would form 666. They also say that the 666 design was also seen on one of the instruments used during the episode Shake, Rattle, and Bang. So, what do you think? Are people overanalyzing the show and ruining it for others, or what? In our second spot, we have Peppa is a real girl. So this theory will literally make you look at the show completely differently. So one person made a theory that Peppa the pig is based off a real human girl by the same name. They say that Peppa was a young girl that lived an isolated life with mentally unstable parents. She herself had countless medical conditions, including schizophrenia. Her parents would constantly abuse her and call her a pig. This made her convince herself that she actually was one. She would then have imaginary friends, which were animals. One day, Peppa killed her brother George after a fit of rage. As a result, her parents locked her in a basement. Then one day, a man got lost in the woods and stumbled upon Peppa's home. Parents let this man stay the night where he encountered Peppa. As a result, he learned of her story and decided to turn it into a show. But instead of it being a dark show, he gave her the positive, happy life she never had. Coming in at number 1, we have Peppa the Cannibal. That's right, Peppa is a pig that loves eating bacon. So in one episode, you can see Peppa eating pizza. However, it looks as if there are slices of pepperoni on it. Or should I say, Peppa-roni. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, someone decided to make a video about Peppa's cannibalism. So in the video, Peppa tries bacon for the first time. After that, she becomes obsessed with the taste. She even goes as far as to biting into her dad's stomach and eating it. She ends up attacking and eating her mom as well before trying to get to her brother. But he hides out in the basement. When she has no more pigs to eat, she starts shredding off her own arm skin and eating that. That's just very disgusting and wrong. Starting off this countdown, we have the vampire. Madame Gazelle is a French English-speaking gazelle that teaches Peppa and her friends. She's also a vampire. Okay, obviously not your typical like Twilight sparkling in the sun vampire, but she definitely is one. One of the biggest clues to this is in the episode Pumpkin Party. It's a Halloween episode and we can see Madame Gazelle and Susie Sheep standing in front of a mirror. However, only Susie Sheep's reflection is shown and not Madame Gazelle's. Well, that's because vampires don't have reflections. Madame Gazelle is also shown to never age. Yet we know that characters in the show do show signs of aging, such as Grandpa Pig with his white facial hair. Additionally, Madame Gazelle was not only Peppa's teacher, but also Peppa's parents' teacher. During a flashback scene, we see that Madame Gazelle looked the exact same as she does currently. In the episode Madame Gazelle's Leaving Party, Mama Pig says, "Thinking about it, Madame Gazelle must be very old." Yeah, I mean, if she was an adult when Peppa's parents were a kid, then she should have drastically aged. But she didn't. At the end of the episode, Madame Gazelle says, "I will be teaching for many years to come." Yeah, that's because she's a vampire that can live for eternity. Moving on to number 9, we have Momo. For those of you who haven't heard about Momo, prepare to be creeped out. Basically, it started off as a social media challenge or game, where Momo would try and get the player to commit acts of violence or harm themselves. Well, turns out that individuals were splicing images of Momo into YouTube videos of Peppa Pig. The video would start off as a typical Peppa the Pig episode, but halfway through, Momo would appear and would tell the child watching to do tasks like take pills, turn on the gas, or cut themselves open with a knife. In one episode, Peppa Pig and her family were out on a nice picnic. Then, Momo was spliced into it and she told the kids to harm themselves. Fortunately, most of these episodes have been removed. However, parents are warned to only watch episodes that come from the official Peppa Pig YouTube channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Peppa is banned in China. Apparently in China, this show is a symbol of rebellion. As a result, anything Peppa Pig related is banned from the popular video app called Douyin. It is said that around 30,000 videos of Peppa Pig were removed. Any video made with the hashtag Peppa Pig would also get removed. Apparently, users were making vulgar jokes or rap songs with Peppa Pig and were even getting tattoos of Peppa. The catchphrase, "Get a tattoo of Peppa Pig, give a round of applause to gangsters," was also blocked on the platform Weibo. Well, this was all banned because it is said users posting about Peppa Pig are considered society people, otherwise known as street punks that go against the mainstream values. They don't condone this behavior, so Peppa is banned. Making our way down the list at number 7, we have Peppa Pig's real face. So, isn't it quite weird that Peppa and all of her friends are shown from a side profile? Like, we never see them straight on. It's always like this, like, "Mommy," you know? They just always have their head tilted sideways and they have 2 eyes and a mouth at the side of their face. Well, an image of the real Peppa has been circulating the web for quite some time now. According to this image, if we see Peppa straight on, then she has a total of 4 eyes and 4 nostrils. She literally looks like a humanoid type creature, so maybe that's the real reason why Peppa can only be shown from the side. Her and her friends are all alien animal type hybrid creatures. In our 6th spot, we have the hacked Facebook page. In 2013, a hacker targeted the popular Peppa Pig World Facebook page. As a result, they posted tons of inappropriate content for kids and adults to see. This included messages like "go to hell" or sexual Peppa Pig memes or even hate comments. Parents were outraged when this happened and shamed the hacker for doing this to a kid-friendly show and page. Other things posted included spam links and racist and sexual comments. And all the Karens wanted to talk to Facebook's manager. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the mutated animals. So in my first theory video, I established that Peppa Pig is massive. She is 7 feet tall and her dad is 14 feet tall. Well, what could account for their massive size and 4 eyes? Well, apparently people theorize that the show actually takes place after a radiation leak wiped out all of humanity. This radiation caused some of the animals in the show to mutate and also get human characteristics, like being able to walk on 2 feet and talk. Now, I say only some animals because other animals in the show are completely normal. In one episode, Peppa visits the zoo and sees the other animals, and they're normal. They walk on all 4s and they don't talk, meaning they weren't affected by the radiation. In the same episode, Madame Gazelle is afraid of the zookeeper, Mr. Lion. While this suggests that they once were prey, and although they live in harmony now, the fear of the past still lingers. Then in the episode called Nursery Rhymes, the character sings "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and we see a normal girl with baby sheeps, suggesting that these animals were once in close contact with humans. Meaning Peppa's world did have humans at one point. Now I know in one episode we see the Queen. Well, hello, the Queen is untouchable, so that explains it right there. Moving on to number 4, we have the drug problem. As a result of Peppa Pig's huge worldwide success, multiple Peppa Pig amusement parks have been opened. Sadly, at one of the attractions called Peppa Pig World, large amounts of cocaine were found. This park attracts about 1 million visitors per year, thousands of the visitors being little kids. It is said that people were doing this drug in the baby changing areas as well as the bathrooms. In fact, traces of the drug were found in 4 out of the 7 bathrooms, meaning it was being used all over the park. An investigation was conducted after a Peppa Pig lunchbox was found packed with this substance. Police went through the park using a wipe that will turn blue if it comes in contact with the drug. The bathrooms tested positive. In our 3rd spot, we have the abusive relationship. Throughout the show, Peppa and other characters are said to be verbally abusive to Daddy Pig. As I mentioned in my last video, Peppa is constantly making fun of her father for his weight. She's just always making jokes and little jabs at her father. Then, as I also mentioned, she makes fun of him for his age. Not only is this extremely rude, but also it can make kids believe that it's okay to be verbally abusive to their parents. Peppa is shown not only to have an unhealthy relationship with her dad, but also her friends. She gets mad at her friends and often says things like, "I don't like you anymore, you're not my best friend." And I think we all know the episode where Peppa is struggling to whistle and then she abruptly ends the call with her friend Susie Sheep once she learned that she can whistle. Or how about the episode where Peppa and George are playing in the snow and Peppa makes a huge snowball that's bigger than her brother and just drops it on his head. George ends up crying and she never apologizes. So yeah, Peppa demonstrates unhealthy relationships and inappropriate behavior that children could pick up on. Coming in at number 2, we have the psychopath. Who is Mr. Potato? And I don't mean Mr. Potato Head. Seriously, he's this massive potato that can talk and walk and even has his own show. He is famous for repeatedly telling the kids to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. One problem with that, Mr. Potato is a vegetable himself. So why is he telling kids to eat his own species? Well, that's because he is a psychopath. He also has friends like Miss Carrot, Sweet Cranberry, and Little Sprout. All throughout the episode titled Mr. Potato Comes to Town, he is constantly telling the kids to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. When one kid asks what kind, he says apples, strawberries, and carrots. Hello, his friend is Miss Carrot. Again, why would he tell these kids to eat his friends? And Mr. Potato has a huge following. People love his show. Peppa even tells him that she watches his show every morning. Meaning, he has control over tons of kids and can use them to do his dark deeds and kill off as many vegetable people as he wants. And in our number 1 spot, we have the cult leader. Now, I'm not done with Mr. Potato just yet. Isn't it odd that he keeps saying exercise is important and we must all exercise? Yes, okay, the show probably wants to promote kids to get out and get active, but he just constantly says it. Well, it might just be that Mr. Potato is actually a cult leader. He isn't actually a potato, he's just someone in a potato costume. He then uses his show to recruit new members. In the episode Mr. Potato Comes to Town, it's the grand opening of his new sports facility. When Peppa and her friends enter the building, you see a bunch of characters walking on the treadmill. They are all walking in sync and at the same speed. Then there are 2 characters on the bikes pedaling at the same speed. All of these characters have no emotion or expression on their faces. It's like they've been hypnotized. And that's because they are, probably from eating fruits and vegetables loaded with some sort of drug. This allows Mr. Potato to have complete control over them and can use them to do his evil bidding for him.
Starting us off at number 10 is a post-apocalyptic world. Now riddle me this, guys, the show's main characters are all anamorphic animals, right? They're just like us, they wear clothes, watch TV, argue with their parents, go to school, etc. But there are some animals in the show that are just animals. Like Tiddles, the show's tortoise, is just a tortoise on the ground, and the ducks are also just ducks swimming in the pond, eating bread, and even the parrot that lives with Grandpa and Granny Pig is just sitting on a perch saying a few words here and there. The kids, who are, let's remind ourselves, animals themselves, also have their own pets like geckos or goldfish. So why are some animals like humans and why are some like animals? Is there even a function of the non-mammals? Journalist Jenny Morrill theorized that the world Peppa Pig takes place in is actually a post-apocalyptic world where all humans have been wiped out other than the queen, apparently, and hence the food chain has left the mammals at the top of the food chain, leaving all inferior animals to take the role previously filled by mammals, whether that's livestock or pets. Coming in at number 9 now, we have Daddy Pig's parents. Now we've met Mummy Pig's parents, Granny and Grandpa Pig, many times, but we've never met Daddy Pig's parents, and why is that? Surely if they're all human-like, Peppa should have 2 sets of grandparents, right? Well, this theory revolves around them. The theory claims that when Daddy and Mummy Pig met and fell in love, that Granny and Grandpa Pig didn't approve of Daddy Pig and his parents. As you probably assumed from their accents, Grandpa and Granny Pig have a very posh accent accent as compared to everyone else as well. So the theory is that Daddy Pig's family was from a lower class, and so neither Granny nor Grandpa wanted Mummy Pig to get involved with him. Drama. But once they got married, they eventually accepted him but told him to cut ties with his parents, and thus we never get introduced to them in the show or even hear their names being said. Tut tut tut, Grandpa and Granny Pig. Are you that judgmental? At number 8 is playgroup. Now in watching the show, the playgroup everyone goes to is very structured like a school. They learn things, they behave, they listen to Madame Gazelle, whereas a playgroup is more unstructured and the kids are mostly just playing around. At times during the show, they even refer to it as a school, either when a school play is going on or a school feat is taking place. But why is everyone in the same class? Peppa and her friends are 4 years old and George and his friends are only 18 months old, yet they're all in the same class learning the same things. Now either Peppa and all her friends were held back 3 years, or George and his friends are very smart for their age and are in Peppa's year. Or, as this theory suggests, Peppa is living in a parallel universe where she's destined to repeat the same school year over and over again, learning the same things again and again until she can break the cycle. Hence she tries to do other things every day to break the monotony of life she faces by continuously doing the same school year. I mean, honestly, I don't blame her. I couldn't imagine going back to school, let alone doing the same school year over and over again. Like, no. That's a hard no from me. Filling our number 7 slot, we have Post-Apocalyptic World Part 2. Now this is an extension of Theory 10, but it expands on a totally different aspect of the show, so I thought it deserved its own point. So we've already established all the characters may be living in a post-apocalyptic world with no humans other than the Queen, but why are all the characters the same size? Dr. Hamster is the same size as Emily Elephant, who is the same size as Rebecca Rabbit, who is the same size as Kylie Kangaroo. That doesn't add up. Well, the second part of this theory by Jenny claims that humans were probably wiped out by a nuclear war, which left a lot of radiation left over, which caused the animals to mutate. So either all the animals are as small as a rabbit or they're as big as an elephant, whichever one you want to suspend your disbelief to. But it does sort of link with their ages. I mean, Granny and Grandpa Pig are a bit bigger than Mummy and Daddy Pig, so there is that add-on as well. And of course the theory doesn't apply to all the non-mammal animals we discussed in the first part of the theory. What do you guys think? Now at number 6 is the true origin story. Now Reddit user Banana04 and many others claim the origin story behind Peppa Pig is as dark as they come. Apparently Peppa was based on a real girl who lived in a secluded wooded area in Tennessee with her family. Her parents were mentally unstable, which caused them to sexually and verbally abuse Peppa, calling her a pig countless times, which caused her to imagine she had other animal friends and caused her to snort at times. She realized they only beat her and not her brother George, so she attempted to kill him but failed and got herself locked in their basement, where she later starved to death. The story came to light because a man actually got lost in those woods and found their house, and her parents agreed to let him stay in the basement, completely forgetting Peppa was there. He learned her story and decided to profit off it. What do you guys think of this horrific origin story? True or false? Coming at number 5 is the lost episode. Now this freaked me out a little bit because I highly doubt this was created by the writers as some sort of spoof episode, but still the fact it exists is just weird. Posted by Creepypasta writer 3 years ago on Reddit, he said he bought his daughter a package of bedtime stories titled Peppa Pig Books and Episodes. When he opened it, however, he only found one episode which he put on, and instead of the regular beginning of the episode, it just had Peppa in red writing. Already shady. But then as the episode progressed, he realized something was very wrong. Peppa was a swearing monster, basically saying every curse in the book, and the episode ended up being 2 hours long. Sometimes the screen went fully red and Daddy Pig was seen as a demon with horns and saying Satan over and over again. Now the user thought perhaps his TV was possessed, or the DVD he bought was cursed, or perhaps tampered with, or maybe this was just a spoof episode that was never meant to be found, yet it was. Thoughts? At number 4 is Peppa herself. As much as people love Peppa, let's face it, she's a tiny bit problematic. This theory suggests based on what Peppa's like as a person or pig, she's going to be left with no one, or eventually everyone will just get sick of her and kill her. Why? Here's why. First off, she fat shames Daddy Pig with no remorse, reason 1 why her dad doesn't like her. Secondly, she's a bad friend. She can't stand losing a game even if her friend wins it, and has to spend around half an episode just whining about it. And during the episode where she's upset she can't whistle and calls up Susie Sheep, Susie ends up whistling on the phone, and Peppa immediately gets sad that Susie can do something that she can't, and then just straight up hangs up on her. Savage. And not to mention her favorite catchphrase, which is, "I don't like you anymore, you're not my best friend." I mean, this girl drops people like flies. And finally, she's just a mean sister. Every time she has a friend over, she excludes George like there's no tomorrow, saying he basically can't do anything because he's too little. So it's no surprise that the theory suggests everyone is bound to get sick of her and, you know, off her. Filling our number 3 slot is George, Peppa's cute little younger brother. Now, who doesn't love tiny George? However, there may be more to George than we originally thought. Note how 90% of the show's characters have alliterated names: Peppa Pig, Danny Dog, Rebecca Rabbit, oh, Danny and Rebecca, that's funny, Susie Sheep, but George is the only character whose name is not alliterated. And I fail to believe the writers were just too lazy to find a name beginning with P, I mean Paul, Peter, Patrick, I mean the list is endless. So why is George different? One theory claims that George is actually adopted, and since it's pretty much impossible to tell if an animal is adopted on the show, since Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy all almost look the same, the difference in name is a symbol that tells us he's different and could very well be adopted. As if he doesn't have it hard enough. Now at number 2 is Miss Rabbit, probably the most hard-working character on the show. No, not probably, 100%. Is there anything this woman/rabbit can't do? Throughout the show's run, we've seen Miss Rabbit do pretty much every job you could think of: cashier, face painter, nurse, helicopter pilot, aquarium caretaker, bus driver, ice cream seller, train driver, library assistant, theme park ticket seller. The list can go on, and believe me, it does. But here's the question: how the hell does Miss Rabbit do all of these jobs? And I'm assuming a lot of these places are open or running at the same time, and surely she can't be everywhere at once. Or can she? This theory claims that Miss Rabbit is secretly a clone, and that's how she's able to be everywhere at once. But clone aside, if we think about the saying breed like rabbits, her parents could have easily just had a huge litter, and thus all of them are just different Miss Rabbits. But that makes no sense, you guys, because her sister is called Mummy Rabbit, so it's not like Miss Rabbit is a triplet or a sextuplet, because her sister is different to her. Hence the theory still stands that Miss Rabbit is a functioning clone in this town, but no one is aware of it. She poses as one Miss Rabbit, but it's physically impossible for her to be just one rabbit. The Queen has to even announce a national holiday the day Miss Rabbit gets the Queen's Award for Industry just so she can go and collect it. So even the Queen buys into her charade. Crafty Miss Rabbit, crafty. And finally, at number 1 is Daddy Pig. I think we all love a bit of Daddy Pig. He's the sweetest thing ever, and it's a personification of patience. But sadly, this theory claims Daddy Pig is on the path to going insane or murdering his whole family. I know, that took a dark twist, but let me tell you why. Let's go Hannibal on this for a second and analyze Daddy Pig. He's hardworking, a good loving dad, he's an architect, yet he still makes plenty of time for his family, and he's pretty much a model dad. But where are the warning signs? In one episode, Daddy Pig tries ballet dancing and then gets crushed while trying to throw Mummy Pig into the air, and he says nothing about her weight gain, but Peppa blames him and says silly daddy. Next, Peppa's treehouse password is literally Daddy's big tummy because he can't fit through the door, so he has to go through the roof. Obviously he's hurt by Peppa's cruel words, but can't really say anything to her. In another episode, when they go to the beach, everyone splashes Daddy Pig in the water and then they bury him in the sand and forget about him altogether and come back when they realize they're missing a straw hat. No worries about Daddy Pig, but more worries about the bloody straw hat. Even though he's buried up until his neck in sand and basically dying from the heat. And that's only from series 1. Imagine all the other sly digs and humiliation he's suffered in all the other series. All in all, the culmination of all these events would eventually lead Daddy Pig to finally cracking and going on a mass killing spree. Wow. Plot twist indeed.